Hi guys, sorry for being silent the last couple of weeks, but I was traveling around Asia and right now I'm in Seoul, guys. It's freezing like I never seen before. Literally, right now we have feels like minus 20 degrees, so something like 60 degrees different from what I had just in Singapore. But the interesting part, that's something that's pretty interesting also for you, is that in this trip, I have been into Taipei for the blockchain week, and more specifically, I attended a meetup about ordinals and tokens on the Bitcoin blockchain. And over there, I met also Casey from the Ordinals protocol, Dom from the BRC20, and also many VCs that surprisingly, and that's something that literally shocked me, they are so interested into the topic of blockchain, Bitcoin, and ordinals and inscriptions. And what we will discuss together is why. What's the future of something like that apparently, and I was the first one at the beginning, as you can remember from my first video about ordinals that it was like in May. If you missed one, I will also leave the link in the right corner here. I was skeptical and I was wondering, what's the value of this thing? We really need another kind of meme coin or something like that. Well, guys, after talking with these people, I have a new idea, and that's what I want to share with you. Just before jumping more and going deeper into the matter, let me say that this channel is not about financial advice, it's just about educational content, and I highly encourage you to always do your own research first. And additionally, guys, if you want to know more about different topics, don't forget to check it out. All our links into the description below, where you can find Twitter, our newsletter, and so on. Okay, guys, so first of all, what we need to understand is what is an inscription? What are ordinals? Well, basically, when it comes to this thing, it simply means adding data, and more precisely, metadata into the blockchain. So basically, it's something that is not existent, or at least it wasn't existing before. Because if on Ethereum, for example, we have the Ethereum virtual machine, we have smart contracts, and we have tokens like ERC20, that is a real token, something that the Ethereum virtual machine is able to recognize. When it comes to Bitcoin, this is something, for example, even the BRC20, this is something that Bitcoin is not able to recognize. Why? Simply because we don't have a virtual machine. So when it comes to ordinals inscription, simply means adding information into the blockchain. And this information will be used in order to represent tokens, NFTs, and so on. And in a moment, we will come also to big limitations that is connected to this thing. Before going deeper, I want to show you a chart because it's pretty interesting. This is the chart. As you can see, these two big spikes that we had, one April, May, and the other one starting from October, are referring, as you can see if I'm zooming out, these are the average transaction fees on Bitcoin. As you can see, they are simply skyrocketing. And the reason is just due to inscriptions. But the beauty is that this is something that's not just regarding Bitcoin, because as you can see, this is an interesting table that is showing us the percentage of transactions that is regarding just inscription to compare to the overall transactions that are happening into blockchain. And as you can see, on Avalanche, we had a peak where 91% of transactions were just inscriptions. ZK Sync, Arbitrum, we have seen the same on Solana, just the other day on Celestia, and so on. All the blockchains are literally overwhelmed by inscriptions. And this brings two kind of consequences. First of all, the price of anything that is about ordinals inscription is simply skyrocketing. And look at this chart. This is coming from Ordi, that is one of the meme coin, one of the first ones. It reached 10x from the moment, and this chart is not showing us the whole history of this meme coin, but just from the moment when it was listed on Binance. And it's something that is pretty impressive, if not even unique, because usually when a meme coin is listed on Binance, this is usually the local top. In this case, we had immediate pump about 2x, and an overall pump in just like 1 month about 10x. And this is something that is pretty impressive. But the story is not ended here, because what we are seeing is that on top of that, a whole ecosystem is being built. In this case, we are seeing the chart of Mubi. Mubi is just a bridge in order to bring inscriptions, ordinals from the Bitcoin blockchain to other blockchains in order to create more liquidity on other markets. Now that we have understood that we are talking about something that is pretty serious thing because everyone is using and the price is literally doing numbers that are incredible. But on the other side, there are two things that we have to remember. First of all, what is the difference between inscription and ordinals BRC20? Because many people are just overlapping them. Do we have ordinals and BRC20 also on Avalanche, Solana, and so on? Well, no. Ordinals, BRC20, SP20, and so on are just ways to write information. Inscriptions is just a big family that is including everything into itself. Inscriptions are just informations that are written on the blockchain. Ordinals BRC20 are ways to write this information, this metadata, into the blockchain. So this is something that is really important for you to understand. Now that we know that, and now that we don't have any doubt anymore about that, let's try to understand what are the challenges. So when it comes to this kind of new technology, we have two kinds of challenges. First of all, it is about the infrastructure. Because remember, guys, as we were saying, we are just writing information into the blockchain. It is something that wasn't existing before. So we have a big problem because who is validating the information? Who is keeping track of who is owning a specific token, NFT, or whatever we have written into the blockchain? Well, nobody. That's the reality. So what we need in order to make it more coherent, more reliable, the system, is having an additional infrastructure that usually is about indexers. So machines that are checking out the blockchain and keeping track of everything. Obviously, we need more people to do that in order to make it reliable. And this is something that, for example, Casey, Dom, and everyone at the meetup that I was were keep saying, guys, if you want to transform it in something that is really a thing, we need more people running infrastructure because right now we don't need anymore to validate the idea. It is validated. Everyone loves it. But on the other side, we need the infrastructure to keep going into this direction. So we need indexer and we need a way to verify all the information. Doesn't matter which is the blockchain. And the second big challenge is obviously that Bitcoin doesn't have a virtual machine. So it doesn't have a way to process all of this information. Because let's not forget that as a developer of Bitcoin said, metadata can be considered just like spam. And what he invited all the validators to do is simply take it out all of this information because they are not useful. The point is that there is really utility, and that's something that we'll discuss just in a moment. What I want to say, and I don't know if you noticed, I'm keep talking about Bitcoin because personally, in my opinion, I don't think that this kind of system has a sense, or at least not so far, into any other blockchain. Because, for example, we were talking about the limitation about a virtual machine. When it comes to Solana, Ethereum, and so on, they all are having their own virtual machine. So why to create different ways to process information, like from inscriptions? Someone can say, well, it's a matter of scalability because you can write them cheaper and so on. Yes, in a certain way, that's true. But are we sure that this is the way? Well, maybe, but this is something that is still too early to be said. But on the other side, when it comes to Bitcoin, well, we have two big advantages that are telling us that yes, this kind of thing could be for real a thing on Bitcoin. And this is something at the beginning literally surprised me, almost shocked me, because as I was telling you, I was in Taipei and I was talking with this VC, and he told me, oh my God, finally we got it. Finally, we have what we were expecting since a while, because everyone wants to invest into Bitcoin related stuff. And I was wondering, come on, really? Among the many things that we have into the crypto blockchain space, DeFi, and so on, do we really want to talk about inscriptions, about meme coins that they don't have any kind of value, any kind of real use case? And he told me, yes, this is something that we love. And I was saying, okay. And I'll start wondering. And at a certain point, I got it. Yes, there are two reasons why Bitcoin is useful from this point of view. First of all, when it comes to Bitcoin, we are talking about something that is recognized by anyone. Try to ask around, what is Bitcoin? And most of the people will tell you, yes, I know what is Bitcoin. Yeah, probably they don't know for real, but they have heard about. Try to ask them for what is near, or what is even worse, least. It is a new blockchain, it's something that is going on since 2016, and right now is becoming a layer 2 on Ethereum with about real world asset. But that's another story. If you're interested about that, let me know into the comment section below. The point is that most of the people never heard about anything else except Bitcoin, Ethereum, maybe Solana, and maybe some meme coins like Shiba Inu, Dogecoin, because that's what it is. So Bitcoin has this kind of big advantage. The second reason is about the level of security, because we don't have to forget that when it comes to Bitcoin, this is the only blockchain that is still using a proof of work that is more secure, but at the same time a level of decentralization, and exactly as also Gary Gensler from the ECC said, well, Bitcoin is not a security, it is a commodity. And that's a big step forward also from the legal point of view. Having something that is running on Bitcoin instead of anything else, well, that's a big deal. So these two things are something that VCs are loving. And when a VC loves something, guess what? They are pouring money into the matter. Okay, now that we have understood why Bitcoin could be a thing when it comes to ordinals, inscription, and so on, what we need still to understand is what's the value? What's the reason why this is something interesting? And the answer to this question came directly from Domo and Casey. I'm showing you also their Twitter account in case you are interested to follow them. I will also leave their links into the description below. What I said is that, guys, imagine the possibility to have a loan, taking a loan directly on Bitcoin using your BTC as a collateral, or issuing a stable coin that is using a BTC directly as a collateral, everything native on the Bitcoin blockchain. So with that kind of level of security and so on. Well, that's a big thing. And honestly, I get the advantage in this case. Why? Mainly because if you think about right now, if you have your Bitcoins and you want to use them to have a loan, for example, about USDC, USDT, or whatever you like, what you need to do is bridging your BTC from Bitcoin to Ethereum. So first of all, you need two kinds of wallets, or you need a single wallet that supporting both of the blockchains. Second, you need to pay fees for the transaction. Third, in the moment when you are using a bridge, it's not secure 100% because we have seen many bridges simply collapsing and being hacked. So as you can see, we have three different points of failures. Not to mention at the end of the story, you will use a protocol on Ethereum or any other blockchain. And the level of security of these blockchains is not the same of Bitcoin. So there are different reasons why having this kind of thing native on Bitcoin could make sense. Obviously, I don't think that's my personal opinion, honestly, because if I have to be fair, at this kind of event, what I heard was a level of joy, a level of enthusiasm about the inscriptions, ordinals, and everything that was, oh my god, it is even too overwhelming for me. I'm positive, now I'm starting to understand what you say, but I'm still don't think that Bitcoin can become the single chain that can solve everything. I still believe that Bitcoin is Bitcoin, And there are different kind of use cases. For example, the one that I just explained to you that are showing us that inscriptions and everything that could be built on top of Bitcoin, for example, the BVM, that is the virtual machine on top of Bitcoin. And I talked about that into a previous video. If you want to check it out into the right corner here. And in that video, and I didn't change my mind, I still believe that Bitcoin is Bitcoin. It doesn't have to become something else. So I'm not so positive about the idea about a maxi Bitcoin. So having only Bitcoin is not something that will solve our problems. We need more blockchain. Each of them is able to solve a specific need. And for example, inscription could solve the need that we have just so. On the other thing, I still believe that for the next bull run and the one that is starting right now, hopefully, inscriptions about meme coins and everything could be a big thing. On the other side, check it out, everything that is built on top of this narrative. For example, we have seen here Mubi, that is like a bridge, so bringing inscription, ordinals, and so on from Bitcoin to another chain and simply explode it in terms of price. We are talking about something that made more than 20x in just a couple of days. That is something insane. Let me know also if you want to know more about this topic, because when it comes to the ecosystem, we have seen many projects start to launch just right now. There is also an interesting launch, but it launched also Mubi that is doing pretty great numbers. We had seen many 30x in a row for each project they have launched. So let me know if you want to dig more into the matter. Let me know it in the comment section below. Guys, I hope that this overview of what are inscriptions, ordinals, which is the difference, and also why Bitcoin, in my opinion, is the only chain that can literally make through this topic. I'm not saying, guys, that there is not a possibility to see more meme coins on other chains, because as we have seen from these numbers, this is something that is happening. We have seen this number happening right now, and it will probably happen again into the next future. I will also leave an important resource that is this one from Talking Inside. Honestly, I found it pretty interesting and self-explaining, so I will leave the link to this report where you can know more about the different kind of protocols, ways, and the future of this big trend. Guys, thank you for following me. Let me know if you want to know more about this topic, anything, and I will see you soon in another video. Bye, guys.